Howdy, folks. Today we're journeying back to a time of turmoil and triumph. This is the story of the American Revolutionary War. Between 1775 and 1783, 13 colonies dared to defy an empire. They fought for their freedom, their ideals, their right to govern themselves. This wasn't just a war, it was a revolution that would change the course of history. The echoes of this conflict still resonate today, reminding us of the price of liberty and the power of unity. The American Revolution wasn't simply a war, it was the birth of a new era. Now, you might be wondering, what led to this momentous upheaval? What ignited the flames of revolution in the hearts of those colonists? A discontent born from years of being treated as second-class citizens by the mighty British Empire. The colonists loved their mother country, but they yearned for a voice, for representation. But the British government, blinded by its own power, turned a deaf ear to their pleas. Instead, they responded with a series of unjust laws and taxes, designed to line their own pockets at the expense of the colonies. The Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, the Townshend Acts. These were just a few of the measures that fueled the colonists' anger. The colonists saw these actions for what they were, a blatant attempt to subjugate and exploit them. The time had come to declare independence. Now, to understand the depth of the colonists' frustration, we gotta talk about taxation without representation. Imagine this. You work hard, you build a life for yourself, but you have no say in how your hard-earned money is spent. The British Parliament, thousands of miles across the ocean, imposed taxes on everything from tea to sugar to legal documents. And the colonists, despite contributing to the empire's wealth, had no elected representatives in Parliament to voice their concerns. This issue of taxation without representation wasn't just about money. It was about principle. Among the many taxes levied upon the colonists, the Stamp Act of 1765 stands out as a particularly egregious affront. This act required colonists to purchase special stamped paper for every legal document, license, newspaper, pamphlet, and even playing cards. Imagine that, y'all. Even a friendly game of cards became a political act. They claimed this tax was necessary to defray the costs of stationing British troops in the colonies. But the colonists saw right through this thinly veiled excuse. They knew that the real purpose of the Stamp Act was to assert control over their lives and line the pockets of the British Treasury. The Stamp Act ignited a firestorm of protest throughout the colonies. The message was clear: the colonists would not be subjugated. As tensions escalated, the British government, instead of seeking a peaceful resolution, doubled down on their oppressive policies. This brings us to 1774 and the passage of the Intolerable Acts, a series of punitive measures designed to punish the colonists for their defiance. The Boston Port Act, the most severe of these acts, effectively shut down the Port of Boston, crippling the city's economy. Then there was the Massachusetts Government Act, which stripped the colony of its self-governing rights. To further tighten their grip on the colonies, the British government passed the Quartering Act, which required colonists to house British troops in their homes. These intolerable acts, far from quelling the unrest, only served to fuel the flames of rebellion. They were the final straw for many colonists, pushing them closer to the brink of revolution. The time had come to fight for their rights, their freedom, their future. By 1775, the air in the colonies was thick with tension. The relationship between the colonies and Great Britain had deteriorated to the point of no return. Yet amidst the escalating tensions, there was a brief, almost eerie calm. The British, confident in their military might, seemed oblivious to the storm brewing within the hearts of the colonists. In the quiet towns and villages across the land, a different kind of preparation was underway. Men, ordinary farmers, shopkeepers, blacksmiths were gathering in secret. They were forming militias, training under the cover of darkness, preparing to defend their homes, their families, their freedom. They called themselves the Minutemen, ready to fight at a minute's notice. And then, on a chilly spring morning in April 1775, the storm broke. British troops marched from Boston towards the towns of Lexington and Concord, their mission to seize colonial military supplies and capture key colonial leaders. Word of the British advance spread like wildfire throughout the countryside. Riders galloped through the night, alerting the Minutemen to the imminent danger. In Lexington, a small band of courageous Minutemen faced off against a much larger British force. A shot rang out, whether from the British or the colonists. No one knows for sure. But that shot, that single, fateful shot, ignited the fires of revolution. The British may have won that first skirmish, but they had awakened a sleeping giant. The news of Lexington and Concord spread like wildfire throughout the colonies. What began as a local skirmish quickly escalated into a full-blown war for independence. From the bustling cities of the East Coast to the frontier settlements of the West, colonists rallied to the cause. Farmers traded their plows for muskets. Shopkeepers closed their stores to join the fight. The Second Continental Congress, meeting in Philadelphia, took charge of the war effort. They appointed George Washington as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. Washington, a man of unwavering integrity and strategic brilliance, would prove to be the guiding light for the fledgling nation. The Continental Army, though outnumbered and outgunned, was bolstered by the unwavering spirit of its soldiers. The year 1776 was a pivotal year in the American Revolution. It was the year that saw the colonies formally declare their independence from Great Britain. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, a document penned by Thomas Jefferson. The Declaration of Independence wasn't just a list of complaints, it was a powerful statement of principles. The spirit of 76, as it came to be known, was characterized by an unwavering belief in the ideals of liberty, equality, and self-government. It was a spirit of defiance against tyranny, a spirit of unity in the face of adversity. The American Revolution wasn't just a war, it was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human heart. A spirit that refuses to be silenced, a spirit that will stop at nothing to achieve its dreams. The American Revolutionary War was not just a series of battles. It was a grueling marathon of endurance, strategy, and survival. The colonial forces, while passionate and determined, faced numerous challenges that tested their resolve. From the onset, the Continental Army, led by General George Washington, grappled with a severe lack of resources. This image captures General Washington at Valley Forge, symbolizing the harsh conditions and the resilience of the Continental Army. The Army's perseverance through freezing conditions without adequate supplies is a testament to their commitment and strategic patience. Washington welcomed the arrival of Baron von Steuben, a Prussian military officer who implemented a rigorous training program. Under his guidance, the ragtag militia transformed into a more formidable fighting force. This asymmetric warfare was crucial in a war where traditional confrontations often favored the better-equipped British soldiers. As the war progressed, several key victories began to shift the momentum in favor of the colonies. The Battle of Saratoga in 1777 stands out as a pivotal moment. This American victory proved to be the turning point of the war, convincing France of the viability of the American cause. Subsequently, France entered the war as an ally to the colonies, providing much-needed military support and supplies. The alliance with France was a masterstroke of diplomacy by Benjamin Franklin. The influx of French troops and the naval presence in the Atlantic helped to relieve some pressure on American forces. Victories at smaller battles such as the Battle of Princeton and the Battle of Monmouth further boosted American morale. The role of espionage and intelligence cannot be underestimated during this phase of the war. The Siege of Yorktown, the decisive blow. In 1781, the Siege of Yorktown marked the climax of the American Revolutionary War. American and French forces, led by General Washington and Comte de Rochambeau, cornered British General Cornwallis. This siege was the last major land battle, pivotal for American independence. Relentless artillery bombardments weakened British defenses. The French naval blockade ensured no British reinforcements. Cornwallis's surrender on October 19, 1781, ended major hostilities. The victory declared the American colonies' capability to defeat a global superpower. The aftermath, assessing the impact. The Treaty of Paris, signed in 1783, ended the war and recognized U.S. sovereignty. It set precedents in diplomatic relations and international law. The treaty marked the end of the war and a new era for the United States. The war's end brought significant social and political changes. Ideals of liberty, equality, and democracy influenced constitutional governance. However, tensions over slavery and Native American rights persisted. Financial instability led to the establishment of a national bank and unified currency. The American experiment in democracy set a global precedent. Now the war had raged for years, with both sides clawing and scratching for every inch of ground. But the tide began to turn, y'all, in the fall of 1781. The grand stage for this turning point, the quaint little town of Yorktown, Virginia. See, General Cornwallis, one of Britain's finest, had marched his redcoats down to Yorktown, figuring to establish a powerful naval base. What he didn't count on was General Washington, that wily fox, moving his troops south with the speed of a startled hare. Washington, along with our French allies led by the Comte de Rochambeau, saw an opportunity. They surrounded Yorktown, trapping Cornwallis and his men like a possum in a henhouse. And let me tell you folks, the siege was on. For weeks the cannons roared, bombs bursting in the night sky, painting the darkness with streaks of fire. The British, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, found themselves caught in a vice, their escape routes cut off by the combined might of the American and French forces. Now word of the British surrender at Yorktown, it traveled across the ocean faster than a whisper on the wind. It shook the British government to its core, y'all. They realized that this war, this costly, drawn-out affair, was unwinnable. The news paved the way for peace talks, and in 1782, representatives from both sides, weary from years of conflict, gathered in Paris. They were there to hammer out a treaty, a document that would officially end the war and acknowledge the birth of a new nation. Our delegation, led by the ever-sharp minds of Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and John Jay, they bargained fiercely for every advantage. They were determined to secure not just independence, but also favorable terms for the young United States. Across the table sat the British representatives, their pride wounded, but their resolve weakening. The reality of the situation had set in. The American colonies, once a distant outpost, had proven themselves a force to be reckoned with. After months of tense negotiations, fraught with moments of both hope and despair, the Treaty of Paris was finally drafted. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to the unwavering spirit of the American people and their quest for self-determination. A new nation emerges, the Treaty of Paris and its significance. On September 3, 1783, representatives from the United States and Great Britain signed the Treaty of Paris, ending the American Revolutionary War. A new nation was born, and the world would never be the same. The treaty acknowledged the United States as a free, sovereign nation. The 13 colonies were now masters of their own destiny. The boundaries stretched from the Atlantic to the Mississippi and from the Great Lakes to Spanish Florida. The Treaty of Paris did more than draw lines on a map. It reshaped the political landscape and inspired a global movement for freedom. A legacy forged in freedom's fire. 13 colonies emerged as a beacon of freedom for the world. The legacy of that era shapes the United States and the world. It wasn't just about breaking free from British rule, it was about birthing a new ideal. Freedom is an inherent right, not a gift from kings. Ordinary folks stood against the mightiest empire and chose liberty. They fought for 8 years, sacrificing for freedom. Their victory ignited global change. The American Revolution inspired others to rise against oppression. the enduring spirit of the Revolution. Some folks might say the American Revolution is ancient history, but the spirit of '76 is alive today. It's woven into the DNA of this nation, in every citizen who raises their voice against injustice. Freedom is a precious gift, constantly guarded, a continuous struggle for liberty, equality, and justice. Let's not forget the sacrifices made by those before us. Their courage reminds us freedom is never free. A nation forged anew. The American Revolution wasn't just a war, it was a rebirth, a forging of a new nation from the fires of conflict. It was a bold experiment in self-governance, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. The United States was founded on ideals, on the belief that a better world was possible. Ideals that continue to inspire and challenge us to this very day. The revolution was messy and complicated, but the yearning for freedom burned bright. It's a story that belongs to all of us, regardless of our background. We have the power to shape our own destiny, to build a more just society. Let the spirit of '76 ignite a fire in your heart.